Check, 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 check. What's happening, people? What's happening, all my subscribers? It's your boy Big Nocturnal. Welcome to Nocturnal Thoughts. I salute to the real, death to the fake, hands down, man down, strap season. Yo, time for Spence, showstopper, the truth, Junior. Hey man, a lot of things leading up to this fight. I had to get caught up on, watched the fight camp, the last interview they did with PBC. Who else was there? Keith One Time Thurman was there. And let me just download a few of these thoughts that watching this footage makes me think of. First off, y'all have to excuse me. Y'all finna hear this truck backing up. So if y'all can, never mind that. And tune in, focus. Okay, Errol Spence, the truth. Showstopper versus Showtime Sean Porter. The training camp. Let me just say first off, man. Let me give respect and salute to both fighters. No disrespect. I'm just the type of person that I don't like to talk so negatively about a fighter just because I'm not choosing him for a fight. You know what I'm saying? I have nothing personal against Kenny Porter, Sean Porter. I respect and I salute his pedigree, his resume, his ability, his skills, everything about it. You know what I'm saying? I have nothing to say negative or from a malice or malicious standpoint with Sean Porter. I'm just not picking him for this fight. You know what I'm saying? I'm picking Errol Spence for this fight. Hands down, man down, strap season. You know what I'm saying? Show stopping. And that's the only way I see it. And when it comes to as far as outside of the ring, I like both of these guys outside of the ring. But when I look at from a black man's point of view, I just feel like Sean Porter, a good dude, seems like a stand-up guy, and he's a hell of a fighter. But some things about his training camp and some things about his relationship with his father, they just show me, they just send up red flags for me. And it's because he's getting older. I mean, what is he? He's 32. That's still young too. That's 31, 32. It's still young, but at the end of the day, 32, you are a grown man, and you should be treated as such. And I feel like Kenny Porter still has too much of a fatherly, over parenting type of a relationship. He has too much. I feel like he still has too much dictatorship and too much control. Not that you should. Your father is going to always be your father. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, a father has to know when to move out the way and let his son be a man. You know what I mean? And, you know, some things about the training camp that I didn't like. First off, look, man, it almost seemed like they was playing games. Like, is this some mental strategy going? Is they trying to show? Is this a sleight of a hand technique, like a magician's sleight of the hand? Is they trying to show something for people to see and do something different, or is this legitimately what's going on? Because if this is what's legitimately going on, I don't like what I'm looking at. When Kenny Porter tells Sean to go do this, and then as soon as he goes into the ring, he goes and whispers into the Barry Hunter's ear like he ain't gonna listen to what I'm telling him to do. He's gonna do exactly what he wants to do. and then you see him climb into the ring real fast, and then he got the blue and green blazer on with KP the Boss on his chest, and he goes up to Sean Porter and he's like, "This is when I tear into your ass." He's like, "Do what I tell you to do." And, "Yes sir, yes sir." And Sean Porter, "Yes sir." "No, don't yes sir me, don't yes sir me. Do what I tell you to do. See, this time for me to tear it." And see, stuff like that, man. If Sean Porter was 15, 16, 19 years old, maybe even 20, 21, I can understand that relationship, that dynamic. You still have to raise him, you still have to guide them, and sometimes you do have to tear into their ass, you know what I'm saying? But you don't talk to your kids like kids when they become grown. I just can't imagine my son being 31 years old and him still yes sir me, and I have to be like, don't yes sir me. I mean, I did that shit with him when he was 10. I'd be like, man, don't give me no yes sir, because I see that you telling me yes sir, but you still on some bull. Don't try to cover up your bull with some respect now. Now you just do what I tell you to do. But when he's 15, 16, 17, I don't even talk like that to my son at 16, unless he really messing up. But I just can imagine putting my foot on his neck at the age of 31, telling him, "Don't yes sir me, do what I tell you to do." Come on, man. And then you got the KP the Boss.
And what the fuck was that barking shit,
now,
man?
I give Kenny Porter full credit for pushing Sean Porter to the limits and to the heights of where they are now in his career, right? Because you took a real raw material, and he's not really that he's not the perfect boxer, but you took that raw willpower and you have willed it into being a 2-time world champ, right? And you have to salute that. You can't negate that. But at the end of the day, just so many contradictions come out from that, from the Porters, you know, so many contradictions, man. Like I said, maybe this is a sleight of the hand. Maybe they just wanted to show the cameras, look, man, we are not getting along in camp, and he's not listening to me. But for real, you know what I'm saying, they got things on lock. I don't think that's the case, but I'm just trying to say what could possibly be the reasoning behind this, right? So another thing that stands out in my mind as a contradiction, Kenny Porter is talking to the interviewer, and he's like, everybody's saying that Errol Spence is so big and so tall, and that's just hype. Look at me, I'm only 5'9", and you're looking at me. Do I look big to you? Errol Spence is my height. And then the interviewer is even speaking more logically than the Kenny Porter's paradigm. And the interviewer's like, yeah, but for a welterweight, you know what I'm saying? Like, Errol Spence is big for a welterweight. And he's like, not to me. Errol Spence is not big to me. Okay, I take you for that, because I'm 5'9", on a good day, 5'10". I'm not the biggest dude in the world, right? So I get how you can say 5'9" is not big, right? But then you turn around and you list these names of these big guys that's tall, 6'1", 6'2", that you beat in the amateurs, right? You name these guys and you say he don't have no problem beating big guys. We never had no problems fighting big guys. We have problems making adjustments to fighting small guys. So you're saying that it's hard for Sean Porter to adapt and fight to small guys. But right before then, your argument was that Errol Spence is not tall. He's not big. He's if anything, you were alluding to him being average. But it sounded like to me you were saying that Errol Spence is small. So what is it? Is Sean Porter fighting all these big guys big, strong guys, but he has a problem. He has a hard time adjusting to small guy. Wouldn't it make sense for you to say Errol Spence is a big guy and we never had a problem fighting big guys? But you said Errol Spence is not big. He's 5'9". But on the other hand, you say Shawn Porter has a problem adjusting to guys that's small sized. And to me, it just looks like a contradiction. So many different contradictions, it's hard for me to remember right off the top of my dome. And trust and believe this video is going to be off the top of the dome. Shawn Porter says, the matter of the fact is, the good thing is, I'm not going to be depending on how rough and rugged I am to beat you. This is when they had the face-to-face, and Errol Spence and Shawn Porter was, going back and forth. When Errol Spence said, the good thing about it is I'm more talented than you, I have more skill than you, and I have more dog than you. And Shawn Porter says, you got more dog than me? And then Shawn Porter says, you know what, the blessing is I'm not relying on the rough and rugged tactic to beat you. Now I know this could be a little bit of a mental manipulation, a little bit of, you trying to throw somebody off of your game plan. But how can you say that you're not going to rely on your come forward, rough, rugged tactic, and then you got you saying me and my dad were talking, and he always on that me and my dad. It's like, man, it's time for you to kind of grow up. You know what I'm saying? Father. You know what I'm saying? That's my old man. That's my father. Not daddy. But anyways, I digress from that. That's not that's me being facetious. I'm not really no comedian. But I just don't like that daddy talk. It's like when you get grown, when you get grown, all men become somewhat equal in your eyes. And even though your dad should be always on the pedestal, it still should be to where your relationships change to a little bit to where he respects you and you respect him both as men. You know what I'm saying? Where your father shouldn't be trying to son you your whole life. He raises you until you become grown, and then he respects you just like any other man. You know what I'm saying? In this father-son relationship. Not daddy. It's like even mom. You don't get grown to call your mother mommy. You call her Mom Dukes. You know what I'm saying? That's my mom's. That's my ma. That's my pop. That's my old man. And call you don't get grown and still call your father daddy. I don't understand that, but that's not for me to judge anybody based off of that. Everybody is to each of his or her own, right? But anyways, Shawn Porter is saying he doesn't have to rely on the smothering tactic, the rugged tactic, the come forward tactic. But then you turn around and you say, my dad said we're not changing anything about our style, right? And then you say, you show the ability to box against Dennis Ugas and against Danny Garcia, which are very arguable whether or not you had a good strategy for those two fights. Definitely Ugas fight. I looked at that fight I tried to give Shawn Porter every single round I could in that fight. And that was still, if anything, a draw or a fight I had to give to Ugazi. You know what I'm saying? From the 5th round on, Ugas did everything he had to do in that fight. You can see Shawn Porter's eyes was lumped up and everything at the end of that fight. But anyways, Shawn Porter says he doesn't have to rely on the rugged tactic, but then he goes in to say how Errol Spence has never fought someone that's going to pressure him like he's going to pressure him. Everybody he's fight has always allowed him to think. This is Shawn Porter saying everybody Errol Spence has fought has allowed him to sit back and think and pick his shots. And I'm not going to allow him to do that. I'm going to be up in his chest. You just said that you don't have to rely on that tactic to win. But then you're saying nobody can do it the way you do it. And then you're saying Kenny Porter saying we're not changing anything. So obviously your tactic is going to be to come forward and smother. And at best, you're working on coming forward and then switching over and trying to change angles so that you can spin him. You're trying to swivel those hips out and turn on the pivot to where you keep turning Errol Spence and smother him. Errol Spence is going to hook off all day long. He's going to hook off an uppercut all day long. And it's going to be hands down, man down, strap season, showstopper, Errol the True Spence Jr. That's my take on that situation. Looking at the camp, I'm not going to judge off the camp because to me it looked like some illusion. It looked like you're trying to do a sleight of hand and show me that y'all having disconnections, that he's not following through instructions, and maybe that's not the case. And then we look at the David Benavidez footage, because I remember just watching a little bit of interview after it was released that you guys had a little sparring session, and David Benavidez just didn't seem like he was impressed with your work, Sean Porter. He just seemed like he was saying, yeah, man, he's rough. He comes forward. He puts a lot of pressure on, and don't get it wrong, I had to put in a little bit of my work too and keep him at the end of my jab. And I'm like, yeah, you 6'2". You kept him at the end of your jab. You're supposed to. But then when you watch the footage between David Benavidez and Sean Porter was getting worked. David Benavidez was throwing rapid combinations, landing them at will, very easy. Now, I know they did not show the entire footage, so I know Sean Porter did get in some rounds. And a matter of fact, when Kenny Porter was telling Sean Porter to rip through the body, rip those hooks to the body, I seen Sean Porter was putting some work on those ribs, tenderizing those ribs. But it looked like to me, past that, it was all Benavidez putting hands on Sean Porter, right? So I'm not basing everything off of this Fight Club. I'm not basing off of what Sean Porter's saying, what Kenny Porter's saying. But when Errol Spence says what he says, he's consistent. All this trying to say that all of a sudden that Errol Spence is arrogant, I don't buy that. You know what I'm saying? His character to me reads too true. Plus he reminds me of myself too much, and I know the difference when you know, you are who you are. Either you're gonna accept me for who I am or you not, but I'm not gonna change. I can't. It's impossible. Even if I wanted to and tried to, it's not going to happen. Errol Spence is just Errol Spence. You know what I'm saying? And he just is saying things stoically, but he's saying things matter-of-factly. And he's just stating obvious things. He's not saying things... I can't say that. I was about to say he's not saying things maliciously, but he is saying things with ill will, with ill intention. So he is saying things maliciously, but from the point of view of this is where I stand, and I know what I'm able of doing. I know what I'm capable of doing, and I see what I visualize what I see happening, and I plan on a rough, rugged fight, and I'm going for a knockout. I want to be the first person to stop Sean Porter. So for all of you Sean Porter supporters, for all you Terrence Bud Crawford fans, I want y'all to pay attention of what's going to happen in this fight. I'm looking forward to it. Now, I'm not one of those guys that just say this is inevitable, this is going to happen this way and that way. I don't pretend to be able to predict the future. You know what I'm saying? A fool, if you want to hear God laugh, you tell him what your plans are. You feel me? This is boxing. Anything can happen, right? But past that obvious statement that anything can happen in boxing, past that, the way I see it, if Errol Spence brings his best to the table, if Sean Porter climbs into the square circle at his best, they're both prime, both healthy, both ready to go to 100, to 110%, to hell and back. If they're both ready to go to hell and back, I'm telling you, both of them going to hell. Only one of them gonna come out victorious. The other one's gonna stay down, and that's gonna be Sean Porter. Hands down, man down. Strap season. His new name from that point is going to be Earl, the Truth, Showstopper, Spence, Jr. This is Nocturnal Thoughts. To all my subscribers, to anybody new checking out this video, go ahead, hit the subscribe button, leave me a comment. I promise I'll get back to you ASAP. This is Nocturnal Thoughts. Salute to the real. Death, DEAF, not DETH. Death to the fake. I'm out. Peace.